In today's video, I'll be showing you guys how I make my thumbnails. There are two different methods I showed, so in the comment section, you will find the timestamps. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoy, and consider subscribing because that'll really help me out. Without further ado, let's get started. So real quick, before we start, make sure you have Forge downloaded, and make sure you have this mod called Custom NPCs downloaded. The link will be in the description below. So the first thing we are going to do is create a single player world. So create new world. We're going to make it super flat. Let's turn the structures off. Cheats on because we're going to be in creative, obviously. Then you're going to create a new world. Also, a quick reminder, make sure you have it on peaceful mode, which I kind of forgot to put it on. There we go. Alright, but anyways, what we are going to do, we are going to go into our inventory. Click this button right here, go to custom NPC tools, click on NPC 1 and place it in your inventory. So this is how we create our NPCs. Before we create any though, we are actually going to do command / give ItzVelocityX barrier, because we are going to be going in the sky for this one. And you can just get a block and then just go all the way up. And we're going to use a couple barrier blocks. And yeah, this should be good right here. Now I'm actually going to get the colored wool that I want to use. So I'm going to use gray wool for this. And then yeah, just create like a long bridge. So I'm going to create one going this way. And one going this way. Alright, so now I'm going to kind of get into like the middle of it and go to your one and right click the block. And now our NPC should spawn. Alright, so what you want to do, you're going to right click him. Make sure this is on hide. Click this until it says player. And then type in your username. So now it's going to show your skin. But we don't want it to rotate so much. So we're going to right click him again. Go to AI. Movement. Then you're going to click body. Make sure it's on manual and make sure this is on 0. Then it should be looking dead at me. Yep. Okay, next we're gonna make his armor. So I'm actually gonna go in here and get his armor. You don't have to do this step. I usually don't do this, but you know, it's only if I make like a challenge video or something, and you don't have to focus too into detail with his armor. But I'm just kind of going all out because for the sake of this video. All right, so yep, make our gray armor. There we go. Then we're going to place in our anvil. Make sure that helmet is enchanted. Alright. Then we're going to right click him. Go to inventory and place in his armor along with his sword. So place this right here and place the sword in this slot. Now, if you are left-handed though, you can place it in this slot and it'll be in his left hand. Anyways, now that we have our character, we're going to make it look like he is running. So we're going to right click him, go to advance, and where it says no job, we're going to click this left arrow 3 times to where it says puppet. Then you're going to click edit, and now we can edit his arm, so we can make it rotate this way, you get what I mean. Now I want to make it look like he's running, so I'm going to bring this forward so his left arms can go back, and then go to right arm and bring this down up here, so that way it looks like, you know, he's kind of putting his arm forward when he runs. I'm gonna rotate his arm, just his right arm a little, so it won't look all weird. And then for his legs, since his left arm is going back, his left leg needs to be going forward. And since his right arm is forward, his leg needs to go backwards. His right leg needs to go backwards. Now it should look like this. Actually, I'm gonna mess with his head for a little. Yeah, that's good. The next thing you want to do is click escape, click on options, make sure your FOV is on 30, then go to your video settings and make sure your render distance is on tiny, and then click F1 and kind of just like get like a good angle. Like, let's see, I think this is a good angle because, you know, you can have like the right side of the thumbnail have its own spot. So next we are going to take the screenshot. There we go. Real quick, before we get into our editing, if you don't have Photoshop at all, you're not able to mask. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna go to escape, options, video settings, details. Make sure your sky and everything's off so you have like a plain background. Then you're gonna click screenshot. Then you're gonna move up a little bit, just where you see just the sky. Then you're gonna go back and turn it back on, and then click screenshot again. So now you have a screenshot of the character and the sky, and you don't have to mask out because we're just gonna magic wand it out. So yeah, let's get to editing. Alright, so now you should be on your desktop, and this is gonna be for Photoshop editing. So if you're a Photoshop editor, you can stay here. If you don't have Photoshop, you can go to the comment section and look for the timestamp that I have for you guys. So the first thing you want to do is hold your Windows key and press the letter R. Then you're gonna type in %appdata%. Then click OK. Then you're gonna go to your Minecraft folder, go to screenshots, and here's our screenshot right here. So we're gonna click and drag it onto our desktop. Then you're gonna open Photoshop. Once Photoshop is open, you're gonna go to File, New, and make sure you copy these settings right here, and then click Create. Then you're gonna go back to File, click Open, and then find your screenshot. So this is our screenshot right here. Then we're gonna put this onto our thumbnail project. So we're gonna Control A, Control C, go back to our thumbnail project, and Control V. So now we pasted our screenshot into our thumbnail project. However, it is too big, so we're gonna press Z and then click and drag to the left to zoom out. Oops, that's too far. Then we're just gonna adjust it. So I hold shift and then this corner piece right here, and just kind of resize it down a little. So you don't want to make it like exactly 1280 by 720. Kind of want to make it bigger, and yeah, just rotate it a little. And you can spend your time adjusting it. I'm just gonna like kind of think right here. It's too much rotation. All right, so I think this right here is good for now. So next we are going to mask out our characters. We has his own layer. So we're gonna zoom in close to like down his leg, and then we're gonna go to the pen tool or just press P, and then yeah, make sure this is on path, and then yeah, basically you just select his the outline of the character. You don't have to make it too precise, but just make sure that you just select it and it doesn't look all choppy. So I'm gonna skip through this part. You can pause the video if you want, and yeah. Once you get to the bridge, you can actually include this with your mask, and then you can just like kind of just click everywhere so you can get back to the first point. Then once you completed that, you're going to right click in the middle of one of your paths, so like right here. Then you're going to click make selection. Make sure this is on 0 and make sure this is checked. Then click OK. Then we're going to fit this to screen. Then you're going to click the layer, you're going to copy it, and you're going to paste it right here. Now it may move a little, so you can kind of just like adjust it. And one thing that I kind of forgot to mask out was this part right here between his legs, because as you can see, it's still there. So you can go to the magic wand tool and just kind of select that out. Just select it and then delete it, and then you'll be fine. Alright, so the next thing we are going to do is actually open a graphic effects pack that I use. The link will be in the description. Yeah, once you have it open, you go to color correction, click and drag it all the way to our thumbnail layer, make sure it's in the middle, and then put this under our solo layer. We're gonna call this the solo layer. We're gonna rename it to that, solo layer. Then I'm gonna turn it on and just kind of like go through and see which one's best for your background. So from the looks of it, it looks like either 4 or 2 is gonna be the best. I'm gonna go with 4 for today. For the sake of this, for the sake of the video, I'm gonna go with 4. All right, then you click the bottom layer, go to filter, blur, motion blur, and then make sure this is on 25. You can mess with the angle a little bit if you want. I usually keep it around like right here, and yeah, just so I can add a little blur to your background, and then click OK. The next thing that we are going to do is go back to our graphic effects pack, go to character layer styles, make sure this is hidden by the way, and yeah, so basically if you copy the layer style here onto our solo layer, it'll replicate that. So let me show you for example. So we're gonna start with 1. We're gonna right click it, copy layer style, go to our character, and then paste it. Now as you can see, that is way too bright, so we are going to Control Z to undo that, and then it's basically trial and error, so you can try each one. We're gonna try 2. 2 looks a little too bright. I wouldn't recommend going 3 unless it's like a logo of some sort, because that's basically just a drop shadow. Let's try 5. That usually has worked for me so far. Yeah, 5 looks good. This is a good one. All right, so now we have like a little gradient overlay, an inner glow, and a drop shadow behind our character. Then you're gonna right click him, go to rasterize layer style, and then yeah, now there won't be any, all the effects on that layer is kind of like now permanently on there unless you undo it. All right, so the next thing is pretty much up to you. It depends on what video you're making. But for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna do the thumbnail for my last video. So I'm actually gonna put my logo here and just put some text just to show you guys what I usually do with my stuff. So we're gonna go to open and bring in whatever thing you're gonna do, but I'm gonna do my logo. Then just do the same thing, Control A, Control C, go to our thumbnail layer, add a new layer, Control V, and then we're gonna resize it a little, like right here. I'm gonna rotate it. Bam, there we go. Now, what I usually do at this part is go back to the graphic effects pack, go to the 3rd character style, copy layer style, go to back to our thumbnail layer, and then paste it, and then now it has that drop shadow I was talking about earlier. Alright, so for the text, the font that I usually use for my thumbnails is called Minecraftia. Yeah, the link will be in the description down below. All the links will be in the description, so just check down there. There should be like a link tree or something. But yeah, you're gonna make sure the font is Minecraftia. Make sure the size is 30, and we're gonna type let's just say 1 hour. Oops, make sure it's all caps by the way. 1 hour. We're gonna bring this down so we can see it, rotate it. Oops, rotate it on top of our logo. Then we're gonna add a new layer. We're gonna go back to the text tool and type in challenge. Then we're gonna click the move tool, rotate it, resize it, kind of put it on the bottom of this. All right, so we are actually almost done with this. So the next thing we are going to do is go to our graphic effects pack, then you can hide this layer now, and then you can go to text layer styles. Now you can choose whichever one is best for you. I personally like the 11th and 12th layer styles, so I'm going to copy this layer style, go to thumbnail layer, go to our 1 hour thing first, right click it and hit paste. Now the stroke is going to be a little too big, so what you can do, you can double click this, go to stroke and just put it down to like 8. That usually works for me. And then go to inner glow and kind of lower it a little so we can have that nice little gray come in right there. I usually keep it at around 50, and then click OK. And then you're gonna do the same thing to challenge. So as you can see, it's gonna be big, so you can go to stroke, make sure that's 8, make sure this is 50, click OK, and then there you go. One thing that you can actually do is hide the drop shadow, since there's already one behind our main logo. And then yeah, so then you can rasterize the layer style, and now you can move it and it won't make that weird. It won't be weird. You want to make sure that the layer is selected, and then you're gonna go right click Let's see. Like click this square box right here, then you're gonna right click it, make sure it's on free transform. You're gonna click this button right here, then you're gonna go over where it says warp, you're gonna click custom, go to arch, and then kind of bring it down. Since it's at the bottom, you kind of want to go lower than usual, like right there is good. Then you can click the check mark, and then you're gonna do the same thing with 1 hour. So click this little thing right here, make sure it's on free transform, click this, go to arch. This time we're gonna bring it down just a little, but have a more arch that goes up, because you know it's above the logo. Then click the check mark, and then yeah, you can hold control and click on this layer, 1 hour and challenge, and then do control E to merge it on one layer. So now, yeah, we're gonna keep that on the right side. You're basically done with the logo now. What I usually do, you can do control J. You can go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Make sure it's on like 7 or something. Then go to the layer styles and go to lighter color, and then just lower the opacity a little so it have like a little sign. And then you can do the same thing to your solo layer if you want. But this time, let's see, what does motion blur look like? I'm just testing some stuff out. You don't have to do this. Just move it like a little bit back. You can add a motion blur if you want, or you can just do the same thing that I did with this, with the 1 hour thing. Just control J to duplicate, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, make sure it's like 7. Then go to lighter color, and then lower the opacity just a little so it makes a little shine. If you want, you can get the eraser. You can, you know, copy this right here, and then just like kind of erase just a little bit so it won't make too much of a shine. You don't have to do this part, but I usually do this with most of my stuff. We're gonna go to Google and type in action lines. I spelled it wrong. I usually take just this one right here, copy image, come over here, add a new layer, paste it. Then we're gonna go to our magic wand tool, click the middle of it, and click delete. Then you're gonna do control D to deselect. Go to image, hue and saturation, make sure the lightness is all the way up to 100. Then click Z, and then click and drag your mouse left to zoom out. Hold shift, this corner button right here, and it, or square, and then just drag it out. And yeah, basically you kind of want to, you don't want to add too many action lines, but at the same time you want just a little bit that's noticeable. So like this much is good. And then one more thing that I see a lot of people do on their thumbnails is actually add a little outline on the side. So there is another thumbnail pack that I use for this. You don't necessarily have to download this one, but I'll still leave it in the description. But once you download it, you just go to the CC layer, the color control layer, open it, go to Kappa 1, I don't know what that is, copy the layer, go to your thumbnail layer, add a new layer, paste, and then as you can see, you have our outline. And make sure that if it's on normal, make sure the blending is on overlay, and then it has that tiny little outline around it. Oops. And then yeah, that's it, you're done. You got your thumbnail for Photoshop done. You can go ahead, file, export, quick export as PNG, put it in your desktop, just call it thumbnail, or yeah, that's fine, that's definitely thumbnail, guys. And then yeah, there you go, there you have it. So in the end, you turn this to this. Okay, so this part of the tutorial is actually for ones who don't have Photoshop. So if you have Photoshop, you can go ahead and X out the video if you want. So you want to download this program called paint.net. It's completely free, link will be in the description. Once you do that, there's actually some plugins that I have that I actually want you guys to download. The link will also be in the description. And yeah, so first what we're gonna do, we're gonna hold the Windows key and press the letter R. I'm gonna type in %app data %, I can't type. Jeez. You're gonna click the Minecraft folder, go to screenshots, and then you see these 2 screenshots right here. Select those 2, and then drag them into your desktop. Then you can open up paint.net, go over to this, click that, and then type in 1280 720, and the resolution is going to be 300. Then click OK. Now you can click open and then get your 2 screenshots in here. So first we're gonna work on this screenshot. So we're gonna do Control A to select the whole thing, Control C to copy, go over here and do Control V. And this pops up, just click keep canvas size. You're gonna zoom out and then hold shift and this corner circle and then just drag it down just a little bit, not too much. And then just kind of like rotate it a little. Just play without, and then you can just play around with it, just kind of make it to where it shows just the character and there's no like transparent lines anywhere. This is good. Actually, wait. Okay, yeah, this is good. Then you're gonna go to your sky screenshot, select it all, Control A, Control C to copy, come over here, add a new layer, put it below our other screenshot layer, and do Control V. And then same thing, keep canvas size and do the same thing a little because it's gonna be a little weird. So just kind of resize it a little, kind of make it to match up with this. You don't have to make it match up, it's again a sky. Then do Control D to deselect. I forgot to mention that. So the next thing you are going to want to do is bring out your magic wand tool. Make sure you're on, we're gonna rename this and call it solo layer. Make sure you're on the solo layer and then just click the sky and make sure that your character is not in part of the selection. If it is, you're gonna go over to where it says tolerance, hold Control, and then just click it until your character's not really selected. So as you can see, it's not selecting anywhere on my character. And then you're actually gonna hold shift and then click this little space right here, and then you're gonna delete it. So now we have our sky and then we have our character. So what we are going to do, we're going to duplicate the solo layer and then go to the bottom solo layer and merge it down to our sky layer. So now we have that. So then we're going to go to effects, blurs, and then motion blur. And yeah, that's why I merged the layer down so we can have a little motion blur on him. So usually around like 30 is good. We'll try 34. We'll try 34 or 35, whatever. Yeah, then click OK, and then there we go. So we're gonna go work on the background for a second. So we're going to go to adjustments, click hue and saturation, and then kind of just adjust the saturation just a little bit so it looks a little brighter. You can also turn up the lightness, but not too much because this could happen. So just make it just like bright, because people would like to click on bright thumbnails. Like they don't want to click a thumbnail that looks like all like this. So yeah, just kind of like adjust it to where it's all bright. I'd say about like, don't go higher than 10 with the lightness, and saturation just go up to like 130. That's about it. And click OK. You can do the same with the solo layer, but we're gonna do some different settings. But it depends on your character though. I'm gonna put the lightness to 5 and the saturation to 110 for this. Then click OK. Then you're gonna go to effects, go to object, and I think it is inner shadow. Inner shadow right here. Yeah, and it's just gonna have this little inner shadow right here. Gonna up the shadow length to 14, the blur radius to, I'd say 30 is good. 30 is good. And then make sure that this is actually white, so it has like a little inner shadow. And then click OK. And then yeah, you can go to adjustments, levels, and you can actually like mess with the levels if you want. I usually don't do this, well, because I don't use paint.net anymore, but you can do that if you want. And then you can go back to the saturation and kind of like, you can turn the lightness down and kind of just saturate it again if it kind of messed it up. And then yeah, so next we're gonna work on our text layers. So we're gonna add a new layer. We're gonna go to text, and as I said on the other tutorial, the font we will be using is called Minecraftia. The link will be in the description. But yeah, just press M and then just kind of look for it. So there it is. Make the size around like, let's see, I think 14 will be good for today. We'll see. And then you're gonna type in, you know, at this part it really just depends on what type of video you're making. So basically I'm just gonna do like my other thumbnail, but it's, instead of having the clock, I'm gonna have my logo on it. So I'm gonna do make sure it's all caps, whatever, 1 hour, and do Control D to deselect. And then if it's too small, you can always, you know, resize it by going in the corner, holding shift and making it bigger. Then do Control D so it can, you know, go back to this. And then we're gonna actually bring in our logo for a second. So let me see, editing, graphic effects, logos, there we go. And then, you know, Control A, Control C, and then Control V. Keep canvas size if it's too big, and then just resize it. So I'm gonna make it like fairly big, like around here. Then we're going to rotate it just a little bit. That's good, I think. We're gonna go to our 1 hour, put it above our you know, text stuff, rotate it a little, and yeah, that's good. And then you're gonna add another layer. Hang on, we're gonna call this 1 hour. And then we're gonna add a new layer. This time we're gonna double click and then call it challenge. Then yeah, click the text layer, or text tool, excuse me. If I'm talking too fast, you can always pause the video, by the way. And then just click on the screen and type in challenge. Again, make sure it is all caps. Then, you know, if it's too small, you can resize it, rotate it, and put it on the bottom. Now what we are going to do is actually pretty simple. You're going to duplicate our logo right here. You're going to go to adjustments, go to saturation, and make sure the lightness is on -100, so it's dark. And as you can see, you know, if I turn that off, it's gonna be like that. Then we're gonna make sure that the dark layer is selected. You go to effects, blurs, Gaussian blur, and just kind of up the radius a little, just, you know, just so it can make it look like a drop shadow. And then once you have it, you can merge the layer by clicking this and going on the top layer first and then merging it down. Alright, so what we are going to do now is work on our text layers. So we are going to go to our magic wand tool, hold shift, and just select one of the letters. So I'm going to select like O. You're going to up the tolerance just a little bit so it won't look all weird. Then we are going to mess with our colors down here. So what I usually like going for is like a white kind of fading down to a gray. So we're going to click this right here and make it like a gray, like a light gray. You can go to more and just like kind of mess with it like right here as well. And then what we are going to do, we're going to click our gradient tool, go from the top, and then just kind of drag it down until you see like a nice like little, it's like a nice little fade from white to gray. So let's see, like, we can make it a little better by keeping the white up here and just kind of like ending it with gray. Yeah, there we go. And then we can do the same thing with our other text down here. So it's like this. That's good. And then what we are going to do is add an outline. So we're going to go to object, or effects, object, go to outline object, and yeah, bring this all the way down and up the outline width to like 8. And then we're gonna do the same thing with 1 hour. You can just do Control F and it'll repeat the same effect on this. And then yeah, after that you're gonna go to your challenge layer and merge it down twice. So now all of this is selected. One thing that you can do to make a little glow is actually duplicate the layer. Go to effects, go to Gaussian blur, and then put the radius on like I'd say like 15, and then go click properties, or you can just double click the layer and then go to blend mode and just kind of like use your scroll wheel if you want to, if you need to, and just kind of scroll down, see which one has like a good glow on it without ruining the image. This is good, this is good. And then yeah, I didn't mean to X out of it. You can like lower the what do you call it, the opacity down a little to just around there. That's good. And then you can merge it down. Actually, no, don't merge it, don't do that. You can click glow if you want, but I don't really like the glow blend mode. It doesn't look too great. But another thing that you can actually use is the glow tool. So I'm gonna go to our solo layer, go to glow, and then you can work with it on there. So you usually have the contrast up a lot. I used to have the brightness up, radius kind of up a little, and then you can click OK. You can do that instead. I feel like that's better. Yeah, so we're basically done with the whole, like, all the hard stuff about the logo, or excuse me, thumbnail. So now we're actually gonna work on like the action lines and our little outline. So I'm gonna go to a Chrome real fast. We're gonna type in action lines. We're gonna click this one right here. I'm gonna copy image. Go back to our place. You're gonna add a new layer and paste it. Then we're going to go to our magic wand tool. Make sure the tolerance is on 50. Click the middle of it and then delete. So now we have the stuff. Then we're gonna go to adjustments, hue and saturation, and make sure the lightness is all the way to 100 this time. Then you're gonna zoom out. Go to our move tool, select and hold shift and kind of just like drag it back. And then you don't have to make it so you don't have to put too many action lines, but at the same time you do want just a little, so it looks solid. I say that's good. And then the last thing that I usually do is add a outline on all of my thumbnails. So we're going to add a new layer. We're going to go to our shapes tool, make sure it's on rectangle, and make sure this is on draw shape outline. Make sure the brush width is on 8, and then we're just gonna zoom all the way in and just kind of get to like the corner of the entire thumbnail, and make sure it kind of just like starts like right here. But yeah, you click and drag and it creates a shape, but make sure it starts like right here. So just right around there, and then take this and drag it all the way up to the top right corner. And yeah, I do have to move this a little, and then just kind of line it up. You can use this down here to see the size and make sure it's 1280 by 720. Then you can click this to fit the thumbnail into the screen, and then do Control D to deselect. Then the last thing you have to do is click properties, go to blend mode, and make sure this is on overlay. Then click OK. And now you have completed your thumbnail. So all you have to do is go to file, save as, and then save it where you want. I'm gonna put it on my desktop. Make sure this is on PNG and just type thumbnail in. Yeah, that's thumbnail. I can't type today, guys, but that's thumbnail, trust me. And yeah, that's it.